Hey, everybody. I'm Tommy, and you're on the lifeboat. The lighting is all bad, and you know what? I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm sorry, people. It's just going to be one of those lighting nights. Hey, Squirrel Girl, good to see ya. Sweet Liberty, how are you? Jamie Palmer, Robin Miners, Sandy Wandy, Cricket, you doing all right? Miss G, Kathy, and Jason P. Jamie Palmer, good to see ya. Good to see ya. Kristen Melinda's here. Tommy Bird, hey, Spikes. Spikes the. Good to see you. Incarnasol, how are you? Gemini Girl 65. April Goodson. Simi Dubawambi. I suppose time away from dopamine surges cause it and help it to, staying away from, the time when you first quit. There's a lot that goes along with that, and that's part of it. Shannon Smith, good to see you. DS Kitty, hello. Heather in the library, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. I'm pretty much caught up, people. And you know what? We're not going to get hung up on ceremony, so to speak. Blessed Crochet, good to see you. You know what? The air conditioning unit in this side of the house isn't working because I didn't pick up a damn AA battery when I was out. I even had it on my list. Dee Dee Razzle Dazzle, good to see you. Roberta, how are you? I have these. It's supposed to save me a bunch of money on my electric bill. You cut if you happen to live in Arizona, they come out and they do this thing where they look at your house and they figure out where you're blowing all of the money on. You're losing it here, you're losing it there. It's a lot about putting in different appliances, getting better windows, right? But the other stuff is getting these smart, thermostats. These smart thermostats to take care of everything, so you're not, in theory, you're not wasting any of your money. Sorry. Positive in a Boston accent. It's not always the easiest thing to do. So these things are super efficient, and as it turns out, they did take a bunch of cash off of my bill. But they run on this stupid little battery, right? And when that battery goes dead, I can't do anything to adjust the AC in this house. So right now it's like 83 in here. And I'll tell you how it went down. Odd thing happened to me today. And it's something that I'm going to share with the boat in all of its glory, because I think you'll find it cool, and I think you'll find it, and it'll piss off a bunch of people who are fun to piss off. A member of the boat donated something today to try to help the lifeboat. We get donations all the time. Sometimes we get very large donations of money. We've had some that are staggering. We really have. This, though, was the first time I've ever had somebody give me a vehicle. And we'll talk about it tomorrow, but they said, I'll tell you the whole story tomorrow. But the person who owned the vehicle is no longer with us, and they wanted this person's vehicle to be sold or used or whatever in some way to benefit the lifeboat. Whatever we do with it, use the money any way we want. But this thing's been sitting, so I had to. Anyway, I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. It made for a very interesting day. Roberta says, Tommy, please take care of yourself. Have some tea. The tea you sent. I've really been going through that. Hug Squirrel Nut Zipper and call Reese. You will feel better after you hear her voice. Oh, yeah, and squeeze Calhoun. Well, I squeezed Calhoun a couple of times today. We went and we hung out today. Spent second day here again with my son. And Quibbs and I have been in contact today, and I heard her lovely voice for part of the part of her live tonight. I couldn't catch all of it because I'll tell you all about it tomorrow. There's a lot going on here, so there's a bunch of stuff that I had to deal with to take delivery of some stuff, and I've been running around like a chicken with its head cut off for the last probably 3.5 hours. This got dropped in my lap. Hello, Fancy Nancy. Angie Mo, good to see you. I live for now. What's happening? Joanne Ventura. This got dropped into my lap. And I mean, dropped into my lap, literally. I got a phone call, and the next thing you know, this is happening. Can we bring this thing over? And I'm paranoid. I'll be really honest, man. It's this line of work will cause a little bit of that, right? Because people who love you on Monday don't love you on Tuesday. So people that want to donate things to you, I usually go, yeah, you know what, man? Especially if it's something that you know that the haters are just going to go, you took what? Yeah, we'll talk about it tomorrow. But the point is, I was a little paranoid about the whole thing, but they said, well, here's the bill of sale, here's the title, and we want you to have it. It's always floors me, the generosity of people, especially people who find themselves in some of the worst situations that life can throw at them. It's a fascinating case study. It really is. It's a fascinating case study. Think about jealousy in its rawest and barest form, right? If you have had the misfortune of losing a loved one, a really close loved one, there's always a split second where you think, I wish it had been them that lost their loved one. It's human nature. It really is. Like the day that I lost my dad, I thought, how many people I wish this could have been other than him. I really would have loved to have had a little bit more time. It's human nature. I don't think there's anything wrong with being human. Maybe I'm wrong. Do I think that the cat might have just actually stunk up the room, and she doesn't ever do this. Helena Floccasibo, Swan Boats, good to see you. Glad you're here. Hello, Laura Lou. Tony Hubben, good to see you, Tony. Abrusti. Lisa Trimble. How are you, Lisa? Linda Burton, good to see you. Layla, am I having a better day? Maybe. I'm still struggling, but we're going to talk about that too. Renee B, good to see you. This show is not going to be about me, but hello, good to see you. Horton Fissel, this show is not going to be all about me, but we may use me as some illustration, right? I may be doing part of the illustration stuff, but you know what? Let's see if I can catch up all at once. I'm sorry, dude, I can't. Gotta go back. One half of your favorite grifter duo. Well, I love it, and you know what? Let's keep it real. As far as grifter duos go, we got game. We got game. Yadira, good to see you. I'm glad that you're here. I'm dealing with some stuff that's I'm dealing with psychological problems that are brought on by physical problems, right? That I had earlier on in my life. And if you're brand new to the lifeboat and you don't know the whole story, I took way too many shots to the head, and I've got a dead spot in there. Cerebral infarction, I think is what they call it. It's a little spot that blood stops getting to, and when blood stops getting to parts of the brain, then it doesn't get oxygen. It goes necrotic and it dies. And over time, they get bigger. The little capillary beds toward the outside start to bleed into the thing in the middle, and then it just keeps getting bigger. And it is, this may be the new norm. 100 days cigarette free for our girl. How fantastic is that? You know what? Thank you so much, Helena. Appreciate the support, but I love this, man. I love this. I really do. I love that. That's success, right? That's absolute success. So, 5% of our life we can't control, right? These are the things like every day somebody sends me an email and says, "I just lost my husband, wife, lover, partner, whatever." Every day. I mean, it's just when you got as many people as we have that come here all the time, you know what I mean? When you start having thousands of people that show up, it's a numbers game. We're going to lose people every single year. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. And because of the lifestyle a lot of us have led, we've fairly consistently seen people drop over the time that we've been here. And it's an emotional gig, this thing that we do. It really is. I don't just mean YouTube. I mean the lifeboat. You know what I mean? We do some pretty emotional stuff here. Grateful that you, the lifeboat, and Reese come into my Cat, what a beautiful thing to say. I really think it's such a hard thing to wrap my brain around when people say that, because we get a hell of a lot more from you guys than you do from us. And I'm not talking about the money. I'm really not. Lisa Trimble, thank you so much. Lisa Trimble's turning people green. Throwing those things out like hot sauce packets. Haters gonna hate. Here's the thing. Hold on one second. Tommy, I had a great news to share. Oh, one of my Boston Terrier, Stitch, had an autoimmune disorder that causes seizures. Well, he hasn't had a seizure since his diagnosis. Seizure free for 11 months. Holy hell, April, that's fantastic. How cool is that? Hey, Kestrel, stick around if you're having a rough time, please. Coming in late, want to send love and acceptance to all. Almost fell backwards down the stairs and banged my head on the wall. Low blood sugar. Bad for balance. No question, Donna. Please be careful. You know, we need all of you here. We really do. Right? We are the force of good in the world. I'll tell you what, man. The world needs it. We need all of you as healthy as possible. So I'm dealing with a lot of crap, and I've decided that on nights where I'm struggling really hard, I'm still going to come on here and talk. I told you this last night. It's hypocritical for me to say don't suffer in silence, and then I go crawl into bed and don't let anybody know I'm having a bad time, right? Joanne says, let's try this again. My late husband had a frontal lobe infarction. Do you know what side it was on, out of curiosity? Because mine also is a frontal lobe infarction. Counter coup, concussions. I would hit the back of my head and all the damage would be in the front. They call it counter coup injury. Don Gloves, good to see you. Glad you're here. Mile High Hokey, what's happening? Ivy's mama. Speed Racer. There's no way Speed Racer is in my chat. Did you arrive in the Mach 5? I loved Speed Racer as a kid, man. Used to make Spanky watch it with me. He wasn't a fan, but I forced him to watch it on Saturday morning, and then we'd watch whatever he liked. But I loved Speed Racer, man. The Mach 5 was the coolest car ever. You're modding on another stream. Well, have fun and be careful. I hope you're as proud of you as we are. That's epic. It really is. Kevin Hawthorne, Lakeland, Florida. Good to see you, Kevin Hawthorne. Sandy Bowers, how are you? Hey, Darcy. Someone asked a question earlier, and you know what? I wasn't trying to dodge it. In fact, I read it and I thought, you know what? This is the kind of question that people dodge. I'm not going to dodge it. And then it went, as often happens. And then I just read something that made me think of it again. But they asked me if I had spoken to Aaron recently. And the answer to that is no, I have not. It's... he really is a very, very busy guy. Dale Cox, my brother told me that if I tried the tincture without him, he was going to physically hurt me. And I'm not supposed to tell anybody when he's going to be here, but suffice to say that hold out. And it's going to be we're going to do a show where we maybe drink it. Wouldn't be the first time. I've done a few of those bottles over the years. It was on his left side. Okay. Mine is on my right. Mine is on my right. Go, Speed Racer. See, Tony Hobbin gets it. Tony Hobbin gets it. I'm so happy for your good news, by the way, April. I love it when family gets better. Kat says, I'm blessed. I have epilepsy, and it's under control because I have wonderful doctors and positivity on my side. I have my driver's license. A lot of us don't because of this condition. That's amazing. I have several friends who also suffer with seizures. To the best of my knowledge, none of them drive. But that's great. I would also pat yourself on the back because you can have the best team of doctors in the world, but if you're not cooperating and if you're not communicating and advocating for yourself, it doesn't matter how good they are. You know what? Hey, Bacon Bits, good to see you. You know, I don't recognize you in green. I think people of a certain age probably all loved Speed Racer. I really believe that. Lady Tina Marie, good to see you. So I'm struggling through this, and I've decided that I'm going to share this with people. I'm not going to suffer in silence while I tell other people not to suffer in silence. And let's be really honest. They're not going to be good shows. If you can't keep a train of thought for more than a couple of seconds, the shows aren't great. However, they're real. And both times I thought about walking away from the lifeboat. I didn't want to do it because I'm embarrassed, because I'm not built that way. I don't care. I really don't. I'm sorry. I don't care. It's just not, I've never been that guy. What I don't want to do is kind of put out a crap product You know what I mean? Because I know that most of you will show up and watch it anyway because you're really kind people and you'll, do the, well, I'll be better next time thing. And it's, I don't know. I do take pride in my ability to speak, and I know pride goes before the fall, yada, yada. But it's this new batch of symptoms is far more frustrating than any of the ones that I have had up to this point. The inability to regulate things and the inability to take certain words out of my vocabulary is a hard thing for me to wrap my brain around as well. Hockey Town John says, looking sharp in that chapeau, Mr. Scoville. Love you, brother. Hockey Town John, you are an ace, man. You really are. There are people on this channel, and there's a lot of them, but there are people on this channel that when the asses start doing the things they do and people start talking, I'll rattle off 6 or 7 names, right? And just say, go watch those people. See interviews that they've done. Go see the shows that they've done and hear what they say about the boat. Because I'm not, right? Don't listen to what they're saying about me. Listen to what they're saying about the boat. This channel is, let's face it. I really, in my dreams, this goes on long, long after I'm gone and goes on long after Spanky's gone. I think this has the potential to become a movement. Right? This connection thing is pretty damn cool. So I'm going to keep beating the drum on that. I really am. But go back to the struggle. I'm going to continue to come here and do what I do. Sorry, hold on. Castro, you're probably right. I'm sure you're right. If I needed him, I'm sure that if I made that phone call, he would probably be there. But it's you'd like to believe that about anybody that you've been friends with, right? Don't we all find ourselves wanting to do that? Wanting to believe that our friends would help come to the rescue? Sadly, I've had to call on friends a few times in my life, and there's definitely been occasions where they don't all show up. You know what I mean? Oh, Hockey Town Johnson, nice thing to say. Thank you, Tony Suter. I love Tony Suter. Weird I felt saying her name for like the first probably 2 months. Every time I said it, I thought, oh, man. Kristen Kruger, good to see you. I have had much suffering in silence. I thank you for your bravery. Ones to all that are suffering and here. You know what? I think the vast majority of us are suffering. Maybe not today. Right? Maybe this is our day off. But we're all going through it. And, there's an undercurrent of hate that seems to, it's a thread that you can follow, and it kind of goes in and out and it disappears for a while and then it comes back. And, the people that have been on my channel for years now will tell you that the fine gentlemen out there that, who, make 90% of their content about me, my girlfriend, my brother, my son, whatever. They lean very heavy on us for content creation. Those people didn't show up in the last couple of weeks, folks, right? These jackwagons have been around for years doing this. It hasn't changed. It hasn't. The reason that we're kind of noticing it is because they've already had their channel taken down once for doing it. And they started another one. And now the other one is about back to where the original one had been. So, but what's going on with me is cyclical and doesn't have anything to do with my relationships. It doesn't have anything to do with my business or what's going on with YouTube, which, by the way, is a freaking business. I promise you. If you have any idea the amount of time that you got to put into this, and I don't mean sitting in front of the camera. I mean talking to people behind the camera, and more importantly, if you can't look at the tea leaves, right, you're going to go out of business. The hardest thing to do in this is to realize when what you're doing isn't benefiting you. Because very often in YouTube and in social media, platforms in general, you can F yourself up for 6 or 7 months before it slaps you in the face that, hey, man, maybe this isn't such a good idea. Unless you're really good at reading the tea leaves, and that's looking at analytics. But you know what? I spent a decent amount of time doing that. And now I spend a decent amount of time doing that for 3 different channels because Cribs doesn't care and she doesn't have to. She really doesn't. You like the hat? This was a gift from someone on the lifeboat. My favorite people. Because I am a grifter. It is a great hat, though. This boat is the best. You know what? It really is. Teacher Nurse says, the biggest thing this channel has done for me is teach me about ants. I didn't know others had them. Man, do you know if I had $1 for every time somebody said either that or I thought I was the only one, or, I had no idea other people did it, I wouldn't even need to grift anymore. For real, if I had $1 for every time somebody has said that to me, I could retire my grifting tomorrow. I probably would. So. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Tommy, I'm so happy that you are here and all the lovely people I've come to love. Never opened up before, but I'm safe on the lifeboat. You know what, Anna, you are. It's a beautiful thing. A big shout out to our troll killers, those people wielding the wrenches. They're pretty damn good, and you gotta be if you work here. I can bring the hate out like few creators. Carol Stewart, how are you? And you know what? If that doesn't make sense to you, you're not a thinker. I'm not trying to disrespect anybody who seems perplexed by this, but I hear people in wonderment. What causes people to do something like this? It's not hard for me to figure out. I promise you it's not. You won't meet a troll that wasn't a creator that failed. I promise you. They're failed content creators. The difference between those people and Quibs or me or my brother, we didn't start out to build successful YouTube channels and make money. For real. We had something that we loved so much that we had to bring that out. It was going to kill us if we didn't talk about it in front of people. If we didn't share our passion with the world, it was going to kill us. If anybody watched, we were shocked. For real. I'm still shocked people watching. And I think when we were peaking, we were doing like 700 people in a live feed. It's going really beautifully. And then I made some drastic changes in order to save me and to help a friend. And the boat took a hit. And when I first came back, we were doing about 60 people in a live feed. And everyone was sending me emails saying, oh man, I hope you're all right. I was happy with 6. You might think that's just something that I say. I was happy as hell with 6. I knew what was going on in everybody's life. Right? If somebody relapsed, all 5 of us jumped on top of them to hug him or her. A lot of really beautiful crap happened in the beginning of the book. It really did. And I felt like a success from about day 5. So whatever the hell happens from this point on, but there's no mystery. These are jealous people. One in particular, which is I don't out these people by names because they're what they want in life is notoriety, right? You stem this back. If you want to get analytical on this, you don't have to be Sigmund Freud. These people had horrific relationships with their parents. They got no affection for anything. Only time they got it was probably being beat. And I'm not being funny. It's horrific. But it's those kind of situations that create people who are content to be hated because it's some kind of affection. Or they're content to be vilified, or they're content to be the jackass, because at least the jackass gets noticed. And it's sad, right? Because these guys like to research, and I know everything about the guy. They don't. They're always saying Quibs' real name is something other than what it really is. Like they never get anything right. They like to do that research. Well, I'll give you a little insight. The biggest hater out there that's going after me, no one in his family will talk to him. It's tragic. Imagine. For real, that's tragic. And he's a guy who went to prison and joined the prison gang. Of course he did. And he had no family. These are the kind of people that tip up in prison because a prison gang becomes a family. Even if what you rally around is the fact that everybody who's brown-skinned or black-skinned is a scumbag, even if that's your rallying point, it's a family. Ain't a healthy family, right? But it's a family. But there's no mystery in this. That particular jackwagon started a YouTube channel eating peppers. Failed. Started a new YouTube channel. Sobriety Channel, which failed. Is there a pattern here? After not doing well at either of the things that the Scoville brothers were successful doing, they decided to become trolls. And the funny thing is, they're not particularly successful at that either. There's a great video. Unfortunately, it was taken down. But back when I used to watch the crap they put up right in the beginning, when it was really like I was all in focused on it, he made a video where he said, that boat will sink. It will never hit 1,300 people. I really got a kick out of that. Here's the thing. Hate doesn't win. It really doesn't. It makes, there are days it wins, right? Hate had a hell of a day today, didn't it? Hate had a hell of a day today with a kid Hux's age going into a school and doing what happened. And if anybody in the lifeboat starts to make a political point on this in either direction, you will never be seen again. Okay? It's a little class. Think about the families of those people. It's never score a political point when the bodies that aren't cold yet. It's bad form. Allison Metcalf Palumbo says, comment, my hubby has a deficit in his working memory thanks to a stroke 4 years ago. Those 3 to 7 things we all keep in the front of our memory, like what task I'm going to do next, he can hold 1, maybe 2. How's he doing with that? Right? Has this made him bitter or angry? Because that's kind of what it's doing to me. And maybe over time, I will adjust. But for a very long time, the decline seemed to be really kind of slow. And when you only add a new annoying thing every 6 months to a year, that's not a hard thing to assimilate. It seems I've got 5 or 6 new things that I need to work on, and they've all come up in the last week and a half. And what I mean by that is like just what Allison said. Most people keep a thought of 4 or 5 things that they need to do, and people who struggle with cognitive decline sometimes can't even keep 1, right? And it's why I walk around with a journal. I need to write stuff down. And now when I write stuff down, I just can't write light bulbs, right? Assuming that when I read it the next time, I'm going to know that means I have to go to the hardware store and pick them up. Because I might start walking around the house checking all of them to see if they're out, because I won't remember why the hell I wrote down the word light bulbs if I don't take the time to write that out. Now, that's not every day. And this is going to sound so stupid, but I almost wish it was. You can come up with a better game plan if it's the same thing every time, but it really varies from day to day. Ant's episode is the best. I've shared that one with so many people. Oh, Kat, that's awesome. Love goes on and on. Lindsay Sterling with Amy Lee. Amy's vocals are unbelievable. Wow. Honestly, this community made me remember people are worth trying to help, even when it's hard or doesn't go right. You know what? If that's all that this community ever did, we won. But we've done a little better than that. Heather in the library, do you have any journaling exercises for ants? Here's the great thing. In all honesty, everything that I do in journaling is the same thing. And I do it for whatever is bothering me. If I'm in a fight, I journal. If I'm feeling so good that I don't feel comfortable in my own skin, I journal. And I sit down and I put the pen to paper, Heather, and I start to write. And normally it will flow. And if it does not, I will sit there on the spot and create a couple of questions from my past. And I've used these as illustrators before, but start trying to name every teacher that you can remember, right? The older you get, the harder that is. But see if you can remember first grade, second grade, third grade, and so on. Why? Not because it matters what the hell the name of your teachers were, but because what you're doing is you're turning on a part of your brain that, for the most part, does not get turned on, right? We leave that part of our brain dormant while other parts of our brain are doing other things. And science now says this is a fact. Sometimes when we're working really hard on something, we will, to conserve energy, we'll shut down other parts of our brain, right? Obviously, these days I'm concerning conserving a crap load of energy. A crap load. So sitting down with the pen in your hand is going to activate, the logical part of your brain. Chances are, if you're struggling, right, with ants, the emotional part of your brain's kicking your ass. So by turning on the executive part, now you've got, right, both of them have to come down a notch in order to meld together. That's the original concept. Now, if it doesn't flow, then what you want to do is turn on yet another part of your brain and go back to your memory banks from as early on as you can remember. And it's innocuous. You're not thinking that this is what you're doing as you're doing it. But what's really happening is, as you're naming that kindergarten teacher and that first grade teacher and that second grade teacher, that blonde woman who I had such a crush on in second grade. And now I'm doing this one. Right now, my head's going in a completely different direction. And I'm remembering who was in that class. And how often do you remember stuff from when you were 7? Honestly, does that happen every day? I promise you it doesn't. We shut down that part of our brain because we just don't need it. Right? Unless you're trying to really figure out what the hell's wrong with you, in which case there aren't any parts of your brain you can afford to shut down. Adam Wood. I don't know that I've ever said hello to you, Adam Wood, but thank you for loving the channel. Care Bear Gratitude. Good to see you. Adam Wood. Almost sounds like a superhero. Yes, the mods are awesome. They really are. Hey, Tommy, I thought you were taking tonight off. You know what? I was going to take tonight off. If I'm going to be really, really honest, I didn't feel comfortable taking the night off. I was planning on not doing it, but I want people to understand what's going on in my head, more probably than you care to understand what's going on in my head, right? Because I come on here every day and I talk about my family, I talk about friggin' everything, right? I talk about my past, I talk about all of the things in my life. I come here and I share it with the crew, and it's very much like Cribs. It's a form of coping mechanism now. It's a way that I have of working through things. But also in the 24-hour YouTube cycle, things happen. And because I came out last night and said the things that I did, I'm getting emails from people that are saying, "Oh, don't let the haters get you down." I mother flippin' promise you that if that were the issue, right, we'd be okay. People, whether you believe this or not, I don't give them a thought. They don't. They're failures, man. They're out there, trash me to 100 people, right? And they're 70 of them are the same people that you've been trashing me to for the last 3 years. But I felt the need to kind of come on and let people know what's going on in my head, because I'm not letting that narrative fly. I'm not letting they'll fight that football anyway. But I would like the people who believe me to know that that's not what's going on. I'll be more than happy. By the way, if it was what was going on, I'd tell you. I would. There was a time. There was a time where I shut down the lifeboat. I took it off of YouTube. Literally. I said, we're not doing this on YouTube anymore. Too many trolls. And then I just decided to walk away the second time. Same reason. Honestly, I hated all of the drama. But, I mean, I'm open and honest. When that's happening, I tell people, I'm sick of this crap. I'm not doing it anymore. That's not what's going on. What's going on is I suffer from a type of mental illness that, as of this moment, we're not regulating very well. That's what's going on. Sorry, hold on. Oh, thank you, humble and kind. Oh, that's odd, but thank you so much. Imitation is the best form of flattery. Well, here's the deal. They're not exactly imitating, right? No, they're going on and seeing how many times they can say the word F in a 9-minute period of time whilst sprinkling my birth name and my new name as often as they can possibly say it. It's just kind of how that goes. Wow. Big one I learned here, I don't have to go it alone. Don Gloves, I love you. I'm glad that you're here, and no, you don't. Incarna Soul says, I hate hate. Horton Fissel says, hate takes up real estate. Well, I got news for you people. This might blow your mind, right? This might blow your mind, but it's got its place. It absolutely has its place. Now, I have nothing but respect for people who can forgive those that really did them wrong, right? I think it is one of the, it shows that people have achieved the level of Zen or whatever you want to call it, the like of which I'm not going to be capable of, right? But I'll tell you right now, I do struggle with hate. There are people out there that I absolutely hate. There are people, and I know it's not healthy. I journal about it. But there are people out there that I'd kind of like to hold their head underwater, crush their larynx. Still a part of me that is just that cat. I just don't spend a whole lot of time breaking the law these days. But no, hate has its place. I promise you it does. It's definitely a terrible thing. It's a sad, sad situation. I'll make you a promise, though. There are environments that you find yourself living in that if you can't muster hate on demand, you're probably not going to get out of there. You know what I mean? And again, it has its place. Its place is not a recurring theme in your life, right? It's okay to be really pissed off. It's okay to hate. You just can't live with it. Because what happens is this. Those people out there that you hate, they don't have any idea that you're doing that. It means nothing to them. It's like that show, My Name is Earl. If I track down those people that I've been harboring this hate for 20 years, and I said to them, do you remember? They would go, what the hell are you talking about? What? I borrowed money for? What are you talking about? Honestly, I had no idea. Guaranteed that's what would happen. Because in my head, it was a very different thing than it was in their head. And that happens a lot. And I struggled. I'm telling you right now, there were 2 people for my entire prison sentence. I spent a good chunk of every day hating them, like taking active action to think about them, to journal about them, to hate them. Unhealthy as hell. Unhealthy as hell. Fortunately, I don't do that anymore. But I'm sorry. Hold on one second. Do I know what the song Purple Haze is about? Do you mean the song Purple Haze? It's about a type of LSD that they were doing in the 60s. Apparently, Jimmy used to like to take the liquid version of it and put it on his headband and tie it on before going on stage. If you listen to the lyrics, it's I think you can. It definitely comes off as that's what's going on. Geese. Oh, you know what? I hated it when the geese would come in. Geese are fun to look at, but let's be really honest. They create a tremendous amount of poop, and it goes everywhere, and it's disgusting. Golf courses, forget about it. Geese will come in and destroy a golf course in a day. Margie Barr says, is there a way to block that loser from my feed? I'm sure there is. What I would do is ask a tutorial video on YouTube because I don't know how to do it. There are people that help me with all that stuff. Most of the time these guys or gals get blocked. They get blocked by the wrenches. But H is okay. Yeah. No, I'm not saying, look, what I am saying about hate is that it has its place, right? It's not okay. It isn't. It is not okay to live in it. But, we talk about the perspective scales, right? If your perspective scale gets hit with a 10, somebody probably just died. or somebody was assaulted or something, someone that you love just had something horrific happen to them, right? If they lose their life, or they are assaulted, they are the victim of someone else's hand, I don't think there's a problem hating that individual until you process through that. I think we're designed for those feelings. And I think that sometimes fighting that nature can be a problem. I really believe that. I knew guys that, became such pacifists, that became so sort of ingrained in that thought that you could go up and slap them in the face, and literally they would turn the other cheek and walk away. And it's a beautiful thing. It really is. In two cases of people I knew who lived that way for really long periods of time, both of them left this planet in a way that you don't want any of your friends to leave this planet. I don't think it's particularly healthy to bottle up or eliminate any emotions. This isn't a popular opinion. I'm aware of that. But depression, you're supposed to get depressed too. You are. Let me rephrase that. You're supposed to get upset and you're supposed to get sad. If that lingers for weeks or months, we have a problem. But you're not supposed to be happy every day. Who the hell's happy every day? Right? I guess people without kids, pets, jobs, real estate, automobiles, it's happy every day, right? Only on friggin' Facebook are people happy every day. Kat says, that person said the boat would sink, just like I didn't think SpongeBob would take off. We were both wrong. Currently a lifeboat and SpongeBob super fan. You know something? I loved SpongeBob SquarePants. I really did. I used to get such a kick out of that. Texas Shenanigans says, hey, Tommy, what are your thoughts on Kava and or Delta 8? The concept of Delta 8, I don't think is a terrible concept, right? So the concept is there are active ingredients in marijuana other than Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, which is what's getting you high, right? THC. There are a lot of other compounds in there. We know of some of them because people take CBN or CBD, or you may give it to your dogs even, right? We all know of those other products. Well, apparently they have found this other one. This is just a little bit different. It's not quite as psychoactive, right, in the brain, but it's still a buzz, right? And what they're doing is extracting just that compound from the plant and selling that off. The trouble is this: they don't grow weed and then pull that out. That's not what's going on. They're growing weed and then using a ton of chemicals to strip away everything but what they want. And that sounds frightening to me. I'll be honest, that sounds really frightening to me. And you guys are familiar with, here we go. Somebody will put it up for me. It's that thing where you throw up every time you do a bong hit, right? Or you smoke a joint or whatever. It's three initials. Cannabis. It's when you throw up all the time. Someone will put it up there for me, right? When I was growing up, I never, ever knew anyone that had that. We had heard about it, but we thought it was a myth. You know what I mean? Because you just didn't. Now, the number of people who are getting it are insane, how high those numbers are. And I have started to go back and ask everybody that I know personally who has developed that, hey, did you smoke weed the whole time, or did you ever do any of the synthetics or the Delta 8 or any of those products? And every one of them has said, oh no, I smoked Delta 8, or I did spice, or I did any of these things that look like flowers, right? But what they're doing is they're stripping the stuff away with chemical and then spraying it on the potpourri or whatever. Humble and Kind says the Georgia school system today broke my heart. They record voicemail threats over an hour before school began. Why don't they check school and take these effing things seriously? Is school's getting gunned down. Yeah. It's horrific. It really is. I've told the story on here, but when Spanky was in first grade, we were next to a high school. I'm sorry, next to a training facility for a school. So there was a track that was about a mile long, and I could take the straightaway and just walk from one side of it to the other, and I would be at his school. And I would walk him up there. And he was 6 years old, going to first grade. I would walk him up there every single day, and weep when I had to drop him off. I mean, I used to love hanging out with my kid. I hated when he went to school. It was a bummer to me. It really was. When he started first grade, I was inconsolable for weeks. But I think back to those days, where he'd, just give me a big hug and a kiss before he'd go into school. And I just think that there were parents that did that this morning. There were parents that dropped their kids off at school today and gave them a hug, and those kids aren't going to come home, and that's not okay. It isn't. It's not okay. And there are hard questions that need to be answered on how that gets fixed. And it requires, hello, Kelly, it requires thinking outside the box. It does. And it requires actions that it's not the same rhetoric that people have been saying for the last 35 years, because it's all BS. It's just how they can shut us all up until the next election. Really. You and your partner in crimes need to be together. Yeah, I see so much difference in you both when you're apart. There's some truth to that. We're definitely different when we're together versus when we're apart. But I just had this is kind of a situation where I need to split my time. At least now that's the only option. And I assure you that we are exploring every available option. That's the truth. He'll have no fury. Great idea, right? Carry a journal with you. Carry a notebook with you. You will thank me later, I promise. Lisa Trimble says, went to a neurologist to check out some things going on with me. Balance, memory, and a few more things. Kind of scary, but I'm okay. No answers yet. That's where I'm at. I'm not going to know until Friday. And it's always hard too, isn't it? With the waiting game. SG, I have, it's not Parkinson's, at least not yet. I got hit in the head a lot of concussions from skiing, and I developed this dead spot on the right frontal lobe from my brain bouncing off the inside of my skull too many times. And it's just, it's one of those things that the older I get, the bigger it gets. And as it grows into other parts of my dome, it turns stuff off or it changes stuff. And, sometimes it's really silly and insignificant stuff, like taste buds will change. Things that I like the taste of, I may not ever like the taste of again. Really odd stuff that, right? Who cares? Move on. But if it turns me into a dick, that's a problem, and it's a problem that will require having to make some adjustments. I have treated some people recently really crappy, and just didn't have a reason to. I didn't have a legitimate reason whatsoever to be the dick I was being, and what it came down to is that being frustrated in my inability to do the things that I'm trying to do. Johnny Scoble used to say that doorways at the age of 50 become magical, because as soon as you walk through one, you'll forget why you walked through the door. And I used to get a kick out of that, but I have a big house. And if I'm going from one side to the other to do something, and like my phone goes off and I read the text message, whatever I was going to do, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. I will have absolutely no memory of what that was. And it gets me to the point where I get really frustrated, and then someone, instead of texting me, it'll be a phone call, and I'll end up snapping on someone that I care a lot about. And by the way, the person I snapped at wasn't Quill, but it is somebody I care about. And then you got to send a text and say, man, I'm sorry. It isn't me. That's not who I am. I've never been that person. And it's, I wish it were a discipline thing, Coach Lisa, I love that. It's been bringing in harm reduction as part of the self-love and care for my coaching clients. Keep showing up for themselves and making progress. I love that. Absolutely love that. I really, really do. There are not enough people out there that are pushing this as a concept. Think about it, man. What an amazing concept. It doesn't matter, by the way, what you're doing wrong. Harm reduction as a model works. No matter what you're doing. If a lot of us, this is just reality, a lot of us do not do well cold turkeying anything. Truthfully, nobody does. But some people, through peer support, counseling, therapy, journaling, running, working out, eating right, trying to get sleep, can figure through that. There are people, right, who get normal. And then there are people that really struggle to. It's a tough thing. Going to be mercied, new norm now. How many more children have to get unalived for a country to literally do something and not say, talk about it's, the problem, honest to God, the problem is ants, automatic negative thoughts, negative self-talk, right? That voice in your head that tells you that mom loved your sister more than you. Right? That voice in your head that says you look fat in that outfit. That voice in your head that says you're a failure, right? You were never any good at this. You were never any good at that. It's an acronym, right, for automatic negative thoughts. It's also a really great visual image of those little things crawling all over your gray matter, because that's kind of how it goes down. How about remembering the first girl I had a crush on? First grade classmate, but only for a short time. I don't know why she was gone after a couple of weeks, but it was a bummer. I remember those. Jimmy Palmer says, I don't journal every day, but when I do, it comes really easy because I'm usually trying to work through something in my head as a behavior someone had towards me. There are people for whom they're very easy. Journaling. I'm that guy now. I promise you, it's just not a very difficult thing anymore. I can sit down and bleed onto the paper, especially because I know I'm the only person that's going to see it, right? Because that's the biggest problem for me, is that I look like a third grader. If you were to read it, it would really be an embarrassment for me, but nobody does. I have made it that way. Troll tax. Hello to all, to the best community. It is a great community, man. It really is. And you know what? Whether we want to admit it or not, I do owe those low lives a shout out from time to time. For real. Charlie Mullins does not ever miss a lifeboat, right? Leaves at least 3 comments in every single, he's done more for the lifeboat and the algorithm than I have. I promise you, right? He is just one of the kindest people in the entire world. I love Charlie. I really do. He's one of my favorite people. I'm sorry. My head went off in a completely different direction, but I'm a fan. SG, I'm sure that we will have a meetup. I'm sure. Sorry. Absolutely humble and kind. I will make sure that I let you know on the books, and I appreciate that. I really do. Reading is something that, thank God, still does exactly what it has always done. It has made me, it quiets the mind, right? It gets me back on track. These last 4 or 5 days, I haven't been able to read or do anything else because of this is, I think personally, I think this is physical. I think this is going to have something to do with the the spot. I'm not trying to be a bummer or hang crepe or anything else. And believe it or not, I've been journaling all day saying that's not going to be it. That's not going to be it. But honestly, this feels, I don't know, it feels different because this happens a lot, but it's usually over as fast as it comes on. And it's not that way. Another troll tax, says Lisa Trimble. Thank you, Lisa. I love you. Boy, they're going to be really pissed. You know, that's their biggest beef, don't you? That is their biggest beef. Yeah, you guys are suckers who give us money. And they will tell you, honestly, they will tell you that I come on at the beginning of every show and say, please, let's get those super chats out, man. Hand them over. I don't know what the hell show I did that on, you know? Must have been during all that cocaine sniffing they said I was doing because I don't remember ever asking for that. Adam Wood says, honestly, I've tried to journal, but it's hard to get the words onto the paper. Sometimes my brain just goes so fast. And with my dyslexia, it makes it difficult to put the pen to paper. Adam Wood. Welcome to my world. That is that feeling that you're describing is the reason I became addicted to heroin. I'm not being funny. It really is the reason that I Darcy says, I came during the second upheaval. You'll have to peel me off yet. Yeah, if those who have survived the first upheaval aren't going anywhere, first or second. Hockeytown John says, and I believe him, I pray for the haters that they find love and kindness like what we have in this community. Hate doesn't have to beget hate. It doesn't. But it takes somebody like you to break that chain, for real. Because it's counterintuitive, isn't it? Honestly, it's counterintuitive. There's a person out there that's saying they want to destroy you, and you're going to take 5 or 10 minutes a day to meditate to a higher power that you believe in, right? On that person's behalf. That's how I wrap your brain around. Honestly, I love it. They get really mad when you say that. My ex-partner used to say that he was going to pray for him. And they did a video one day with a lot of F-bombs. Don't you say you're going to mother him? Nah. You know what? Here's the truth. I really don't. I'll tell you the stuff that bums me out. Like, I really don't have a problem telling you the stuff that bums me out. I don't want to. People will disappear on the lifeboat, right? People will disappear. People that were here every day for 9 months or every day for a year that are just such a part of the fabric of the show, and then one day they're gone. And that's hard, right? That's a bummer. However, what you do as a host is you go to a default setting in your head that says, you know what happened? Man, they feel so strong in their sobriety and their walk that they don't need the peer support. And very often that's the case. People will come back and say, hey, you know, I found a support group in my hometown, but I do want to stop in from time to time and let you know that I love you guys, yada, yada. And that's cool as hell, right? We want people to be able to, to get what they need off of the boat and then move on. That said, we've helped people along the way. We have. With your money, we've helped people along the way. More often than not, that comes in the form of helping people get into medical assisted treatment. In fact, 99 out of $100, right, that we spend on anybody gets spent that way. That's where most of the money goes. However, every once in a blue moon, there will be something that comes up that the stars line up, and we will do something that is not part of what we normally do or are comfortable doing, where someone, as an example, there was someone that was being physically abused in the home that they were in. That they had a husband who beat her, and it was just a really horrific situation. And there was a very short window of opportunity where he took off. And if she had about $600 or $700, then we could get her out of there. And when he came home, she'd be gone. And we got a team of people to move her, literally. And when the dude came home, yeah, no wife, no clothes, no nothing, gone. That's a beautiful thing. And when we're able to do something like that, it's one of the most exciting things in the world. You know what happens to everybody we help? They disappear. And they disappear because they want to pay back the money before they pop their face up. We don't ever tell anybody we do it, right? Ever. But I'm doing the analytics stuff, and I was going through, and we're missing 3 people that are just aces. 3 of the kindest people on planet Earth who are not here anymore. They're not here, I guarantee you, because we help them. We got to all get better as human beings at knowing. And pay attention, because just in case, right? You're in those shoes someday. In every one of those cases, we said, they'll say when the tax return comes, no, this isn't a loan, right? We don't loan money. That these are people that entrusted us with cash to help people that needed it, and we're helping you. You do not need to pay this back, and you can look and tell which people are in their head going, "No, I got to pay this back," and it runs them off. It's one of the most depressing things in the world, because there are some people I really care about, and I'm hoping they're just lurking, but I'm not seeing them anymore. It really bums me out. SG, you're shy and introverted. I'll be damned. I wouldn't have guessed that. Good God, Carol Ann. At 17. That guy sounds like an ace. There are a lot of journalists here. There really are. I'll tell you something, voice journaling. And I don't mean voice to text, right? Voice journaling. Some voice to text services are great. And if that works for you, that's awesome. When I get punchy, I get a wicked New York accent. And very often I'm doing it late at night and I'm punchy, I'm tired as hell. But the worse my accent gets, the less chance that that machine's going to pick me up, and that's frustrating. So I just record voice memos. If I'm ever too frazzled to be able to write, I do voice memos, which I really get the same effect. Carol Ann, I'm sorry to hear that the memory has recently become vivid, but I will say to you what I say to everybody who tells me that. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that at this juncture in your life, this is now becoming vivid, right? Because with all due respect, you look really young, but I don't think 17 was 2 years ago, right? So why now? And I always ask people this, because if you can answer that question, it's going to tell you a lot more about this than anything else will. What do you think brought this on? Why now? SG says, I have a hate for rap music. I'll tell you what, I don't like the stuff of today at all. I really don't. Some of the really old stuff was poetry. I'm not being funny either. Like the album "The Message" by Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. If you listen to the words to all of those, like they were talking about the economic times in the country, and I mean, it was very, very clever stuff. And then it just became, I got more hoes, more cars, and more cash. Right? Look at all the gold, and yeah, I don't dig it. It's very, very misogynistic. It's very toxic. It's toxic. Yeah, exactly, Adam. Here, you're never going to go anywhere in the world where more people are not going to be stoked to answer a question that you ask. Everybody here knows what it feels like to ask a question in a forum like this, especially if it's the first time doing it. They all know what that feels like. And if you hear crickets, those people disappear. What they need is for everybody on the boat to go, hey, and you guys do. I don't even have to tell people to do it. It's beautiful. Carol Ann says, I found his two daughters on Facebook, curious what they may have experienced. Yeah. One of the people that was wildly inappropriate with me when I was a youngster has a daughter that is 46. Who's 46, and I didn't. We've never had a really in-depth conversation, but I'm terrified. I don't know that I would be able to have a conversation with her and not say something dumb. For real. I got that. That's a situation where is hate healthy? It's not. But I will dedicate a little time every year to hating those people. And just living with that and accepting it and thinking, you know what? I can hate them for a day or two. I don't think that. I think I got that coming. I do. I think I got that coming. Random share. Melinda is my middle name. Before I showed up here, the only time it was used was by my mom when I was in trouble as a child. Ah, it's nice. It has a new life. You know what? I dig that. Really, I dig that. I love you. Stop. I'm listening, but can't type anymore. Sorry, guys. Love will always win. We are blessed to have you all. And thanks, mods. You know what? We have great mods. And we have a crew of people here that go out of their way, right? All of them go out of their way 4 or 5 times a week minimum, some 14 times a week, to come here, even on days when life is perfect and there's nothing in their life that's bumming them out. And there's nothing. They come here to help other people because on those days they can use that energy and that positivity to help lift up people that are having bad times. You know a lot of channels like that, do you? Huh? And yeah, I'm bragging. You know a lot of channels like that? Because I don't. Squirrel Girl, I love this. I really do. And it's mature. I've only hated one person in my life, truly. Hated people's actions plenty, but only actually one person. I love that. Hey, Adam, you're built for it. Keep coming back, right? We are live every single morning between 7 and 8. Captain Calhoun, between 7 and 8 on California AM time. And then I'm here 7 nights a week at 7 p.m. on the California coast. Adam, I hope to see you in our live feed more often. There is a difference between feeling depressed and clinical depression, right? If your mate dies, you should get depressed. It's completely legit, right? If 2 years later you're still depressed, that's not normal, right? The grieving process, as we've said so many times, you don't get over it. You don't move on. You don't find closure or any of that. But you get to a point where you can get through a day. And it is a great thing when you can get over hating someone because let's be really honest, they rent space in your dome. Hey, Kestrel, you know what's sad? You could, you know what? You guys can give me crap too, but I can put on the tinfoil hat. But you're going to hear a bunch of things in the next 3 or 4 days about this shooting that are just going to make you go, what? Like the fact that complaints were made to the FBI and it leaves you scratching your head. It really does. You know what, analytical Blarney? I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you save your money because honestly, I am. I should not have gone an hour. Sorry. Hey, Carol, I love you and I get it. Trust me, I get it. We'll get through it. I promise you, we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Da, 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 da. Looking good and green. Not that you are looking fine in blue, but you're looking great and green. Before your chat assembles bedtime, I promise. Yes, yes. I am wrapping this puppy up. You know what that means, don't you? That means two things. It means that I got through an entire show right in the middle of all of it. We got through a show. which means that even if the show is not great and I can't keep a train of thought, you guys are still kind and we can still get through it, right? And that's a good thing. It really is. I promise, right, that I'm going to do this as long as I can. I love it here. I love you guys. I love the fact that there's a group of people on this planet that are willing to take an hour or two every day because they want to be better and they want to help anybody else that wants to be better. If you can find a channel doing something cooler than that, tell me about it because I'll go. I promise. I promise. If you find something with a cooler concept than that, I'll friggin' support it to the nines. This beautiful girl here with the 2 different colored feet is Squirrel Nut Zipper, a cat in a basket. Say goodnight, Squirrel. Little complainer. I got some video I'll be putting up of she and I talking. We had a very interesting conversation today. It'll probably be up tomorrow morning. Alrighty, peeps. Have a great night, huh? We'll see you guys tomorrow. Between now and then, try to eat some toast. Maybe put some marmalade on it. Reach out and try to save somebody. Good night.